everything is shown and packed and you feel whole. You feel amazing, you feel free, you feel liberated, you think better thoughts. Okay. All right, I think I'm going. All right. You can go right. All right. Good morning. We're here. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Listen. So as I don't know, as a gift, I'm going to do my daily intentions. Elevate your days in the Facebook group. So if you're here, just give me a thumbs up, right? So this is all about the Project L.I.F.E program, and the intention for Project L.I.F.E is to truly just help you just take one day at a time. So we break down into like small um, bite-sized recipes for your life. Okay. So today's Tuesday, right? So let's take a deep breath. Come center. I got my coffee. I enjoyed the conversation yesterday. For everybody who joined the conversation yesterday. For all the new people, hello. How are you? Okay. Um, this is your time. Really, no pressure, just presence. This is Project L.I.F.E where we turn theory into practice. All right. So before I dive in, just want to ask you a question. Just drop how you feeling in the chat. One word. How are you feeling this morning? One word. How am I feeling? Relief, right? Because I am going live in the chat, and I've been having some issues with streaming into the chat. And so relief would be my word this morning. All right. So yesterday, we can get into it. This is like a 15-20 minute, just really setting the intention for the day. The whole idea behind Project L.I.F.E is literally bite-sized, every day, living with intention, top of the mind. Why 8:30 and not 6 o'clock? Ma'am, I wake up at 7. Yeah, and then I just felt like when we wake up, that's our time. And now this is our community time. This is where two or more can be in agreement, and then we move forward with our life. All right. So yesterday, we talked about stories, right? Where did your story of lack come from, right? And I shared that as a man thinketh, so is he, right? And um where that scripture really came from, which was, for as a man thinks in his heart, so is he, right? And so the action for yesterday was, one, for you to really look at, where did your story of lack come from? And I shared the story. I love this story about I heard this man talk about the first sin, right? And the first sin was what? Of lack. The story goes that Satan tempted Eve into what? Into paying attention to what she didn't have. So she had all of these things from all of the trees you can eat, but from this one tree. And what he did was he took her focus from abundance, right, to this one thing that she didn't have, right, which was lack, and which was the tree. And so the man went on to talk about, like, the first real sin was like lack, us paying attention to what we don't have. All right. So the action was to really, hey, where did you learn lack from? Lack of time, lack of energy, lack of capacity, right? Where did that come from? And then yesterday you were supposed to see the abundance, right? I don't care if it was in the grass, if it in the leaves, and how many grains of coffee, right? Just see the abundance in your life, right? And here's the thing: sometimes the abundance may not be in the places that we wanted. But here's the thing: there's something called cause and effect, right? So if I see enough abundance, my cup will run over into the spaces that I desire for abundance for. But if I'm not even recognizing abundance in my life, if I'm not even recognizing that there are many things going right in my life, right, then I'm not even training my brain to see when the things I really want to happen are happening. All right. So I hope that was helpful yesterday and really set the tone for your day. So today our focusing on why lack feels so real, right? So yesterday was the stories behind lack. Today is like the trigger, right? Why does lack feel so real? Have you ever noticed how certain situations instantly make you feel like you're falling behind or like you're missing something, right? That's not by accident. That is your mind triggering what? A story, right? In the stop and now framework, the second step is triggers, right? And what is a trigger? It's really like this emotional reaction that's tied to a past experience. And based on the research, it doesn't even have to be our experiences because there's a collective consciousness. So just like how we have blood pressure, things like that in the blood, sometimes we can be triggered subconsciously in a collective of the bloodline, right? And so we're just not aware. And that is just like the power of being present, right? So these past experiences, be it yours, be it the collective consciousness, be it your family, it reminds us of moments where we felt lack, unworthy, not enough, behind, right? And our mind goes back there, right? Our mind goes back there, and then our emotions follow, right? So, for example, I remember when I was 18 in the 12th grade, it was time to take senior pictures. I took the senior pictures, but it was time to pay for those pictures. Now, anybody who knows me know that I did hair and I did make a wealth of resources at that time. But on this particular day, and anybody know me know that a bulk of my resources went to my family. So I helped out my family. They, paid the bills and everything with the hope that I would recoup this resource so that I could buy my senior pictures, or the ones with the cap and gown. And you know, it didn't happen. And it's one of those images that's pressed in my brain because I felt so like I wasn't doing enough, right? Like I wasn't making enough money. Now, mind you, I'm 17 years old. I wasn't making enough money to care for my family. I wasn't making enough money to care for my family and myself. And then it also instilled this belief that I don't have support, right? Like I just don't have the support that I need. All three of those was based on lack, right? And what it did was it made me kick in and do more, right? And be more and like try to have more. So now I'm, working over because I never wanted to experience that moment again. All right. So what situations in your life, put it in the chat, um, where you feel the most lack, right? Is it around social media, right? Like when you're watching social media and you're looking at other people's lives and you're like, I don't have that. I don't have that relationship. I don't have that type of car. I can't speak that way. Whatever that comparison is it around finances, right? Is it, I never have enough money to do really what I want to do? Or, I wish I had more money or resources, or is it around relationship struggles, right? Like, I'm never going to get a husband, or my boyfriend is not, affectionate enough, or we don't communicate enough, or we don't do enough, right? So I want you to pause for a minute and really just think, where are my stories of lack rooted in, right? And then we're going to talk about what that triggers in you. And remember, a trigger is a trigger, right? So it's like the domino effect. So the first domino falls, which is the situation, and then it's just this like collision of other, thoughts and emotions that is tied to that. All right. All right. Put a one in the chat if you felt that. And then make sure you give me a heart if that really resonated with you. All right. So here's the action for today. Um, Identify one lack based trigger, right? And write it down. Um, and then write down how you can respond differently the next time it happens, right? So, so, and I still have this going back to that situation when I was a kid, and just say it's something that I want to do now. And I can feel that like deep seated belief, um, trying to come in like, I just don't have the support. Um, so what I do is I just get present, right? I get very present in the moment. I take a deep breath and I'm like, ask myself, is that true? Like, do you really not have support? And then I'm like, I do have support. And once I ask that question, then all of the resources and supports that I have start to come up. What about this? What about that? What about this? Maybe it's timing, right? It gives my mind other ways to really view that situation. And that's really what I want you to do today. Okay. Because remember on yesterday, um, why we should, uh, why lack exists, right? So it creates a negative mindset, right? So when we focus on lack, we tend to fixate on what we don't have rather than what we do have. And so a part of identifying the trigger and like redirecting that energy is to really change this mindset from scarcity, not enoughness, to I do have enough. Now, in the beginning, that's going to feel a little like I'm lying, right? Because I really believe what I believe, which is again why yesterday was as a man thinketh, so is he, right? That is what this whole week is based on. As a man thinketh, so is he. So this is my belief system. So you're trying to tell me, Dr. Sheila, that I have something that I don't have. And what I want you to think about is no, what I'm asking you to do is get your cart ready so you can go shopping, right? And if you have the cart, then you have the structure, then you have space in your life for the things you desire to come in. But right now, you're walking through a store when you're focusing on lack. You're actually walking through a store with no cart saying, hey, I want all of this stuff, but I have nowhere to put it. Okay. And so changing from this negative mindset and focusing on what I don't have versus focusing on all the blessings I do have. Listen, we woke up this morning. You're on this live with me, right? We're drinking coffee, right? There's a smile, right? So it and hopefully that made you smile and recognize, all right? And then perpetuates the victim mindset or the victim mentality, right? So focusing too much on what's missing encourages the victim mindset. So instead of feeling empowered to change and improve our situation, we actually feel stuck, right? We actually feel stuck because we're feeding ourselves a story that doesn't support our desire. I was with a client yesterday, and one of the things he kept saying was, I really have to figure out, you know, where this not enoughness came from, right? Like, I really have to start asking myself, why am I feeling not enough? And I heard him and I listened to him, and I'm like, okay. And I said, so here's the powerful thing about the brain, right? When you ask the brain, why do I not feel like I'm good enough? It's gonna go through every part of you and it's gonna provide you with that answer. Right? It's gonna support that. And I don't know if that's what you desire. Right? And he's like, no, no, that's not what I desire. Right? I said, I think what you want to start to see is your enoughness. Right? So where am I enough? Right? Show me the places where my enoughness exists, right? And so as soon as I said that, I'm like, yeah, we have to really start asking our questions in the affirming, right? And more towards the thing that we desire and not what we don't desire. And that is one of the biggest things I work with my clients with, because a lot of my clients, they like, I don't want this, I don't want that. And it's like, yeah, but what do you want? Let's start affirming the space that you want. So again, it's kind of like we're clearing the land so we can build the building, we can build the relationship, we can build the financial support, we can build like the career, we can build the business that you want, right? We can build the life that you want. But if you're asking questions to your mind that is counterintuitive to the desire, you're going to get the answer, but you're going to continue to feel stuck, right? Which is again why Project Life exists. Um, if you want to be a part of this conversation every morning, hey, just show up. I'll be here at 8:30 every morning on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If you want the replays, go to SheilaLittle.com/life. Because once this is over, it comes down and it goes into the membership portal. You can be a part of the membership for as small as $19.99 a month. Okay. And then if you want personalized coaching, right, where you're going in a more deep dive to more elevate, we do have an elevate level. And then we have the legacy level where you get the emotional intelligence training and all of the tools that you would need. And you get quarterly coaching with me in a life blueprint, right? So that we can make sure that you're attaining your goals on purpose. All right. Now, here is your affirmation for today. All right. Let's say it together. Now, let's affirm our truths, our new truths together. So repeat after me. I am not controlled by my triggers. I am grounded in truth and abundance. Let's say that again. I am not controlled by my triggers. I am grounded in truth and abundance. So day 2, I want you to again look around you and I want you to see the abundance in your life. Again, if it's in the grass, if it's in how many sales you have. If it's a basket of clothes, honey, that's folding over. If it's in the refrigerator, that's full of food, right? I want you to recognize the abundance in your life, right? And just make a mental note. Oh, thank you, right? God, for that abundance, right? We're not going to complain about it. We're not going to judge it. We're just going to thank God for the abundance, right? So if today's session really resonated with you, listen, drop a fire emoji in the chat for me and let's celebrate our growth. Again, we're going to take a deep breath, just bring ourselves right to center, right? We're going to make it a great day. We're going to set an intention today to really respond, right, from a place like I have that to give. If it's a hello, if it's a compassion, if it's grace, if it's forgiveness, I have it to give, right? I'm in my harvest season. I have that to give to you, right? And we're going to give it, right? And then we're going to see what does that feel like just giving, right? Not like I ain't got time for that today. That's not our language. We got time for it today, right? Because I have it to give to you. I don't have to entertain it, but I can let you um, if it's something that's more contracting or negative, I can let you have that, right? And then if it's something that's uplifting, hi, how you doing today? If it's a smile, if you drive me and you just look over at the driver next to you, hi. If it's somebody that walk in, hey, how was your day? We have it to give today. Why? Because we're living in abundance. So again, remember that if you can shape it in your mind, you can have it in your life, right? And we're in Project Life where we're going to continue to turn theory into practice. So you continue to make every moment a great one. I love you. Till later.